So obviously here today, talking about building window films, but normally I specialise in interior films, for like sand products, data jamming, some niche colours like that as well.
And so on.
So what's within the portfolios, the three broad spectrums, is your solar window film, most people will be aware of or seen. We've got the safety selection in safety and security, and then VION Decorative, which is probably, VION Decorative is probably the one that people don't really say how is that much, whether they're from a background of arches and frostings, they never really think of using it to paint printers or already designed.
Very both.
So we'll go over solid safety films first, and again, if you're getting into the world of window films, a big part of the understanding is the glass types you're working on. It's your film you're choosing is going to work with that type of glass or that glaze and solution. So in the UK, there's predominantly three types of glass that we deal with. We've got annealed, which is the weakest type of glass, also the most dangerous, but it breaks and get those kind of really big shards. If it breaks like that in that glass, you get those kind of very sporadic big cracks, big pieces. Don't see as much of it, but you do get a lot of laminated floor glass. Laminated, put it in the safe and glass kind of bracket. Then we also have toughened or temperate glass. So it's gone through a heat treating process where it gets heated to roughly 600 degrees and rapidly cooled. A window film fit is the best friend. Way more stable, way more durable. When it comes to film with fractures and heat resistance, you normally need contrast around 150 degrees on average for it to actually fracture or break. So it's always a great sign, where you're toughened.
Brego.
Identifying toughened, I've got a few more of these later on, but again, if we have a symbol or an etch or a stamp on that glass, brilliant, we already know. I've got a few bits of kit over here which can tell us that as well. These are the kind of questions we'll also ask if you will purchase window film viewers, and to make sure you've got the right film, the right job, and you kind of future-proof down the line. Then we've got laminated glass. So laminated glass is 2 pins of glass, where it's 2 pins of float, 2 pins toughened, and it's sandwiched with a PVB layer in between. If you're a nerd like me, that's probably line and butyl, you'll never need to know that. There you go. But again, it's a way of harnessing cheaper glass like float glass, but making sure it meets safety standards in the UK. It's something we need everything to be aware. One of the big ones to us, especially if we see the M12-150, which tells us that's toughened glass, that's the standard it needs to meet. That's great, no deal with. And if you've got double glazed unit, you want to check both sides as well. And so then you've got VSG, which is laminated glass. That's actually a combination of toughened and semi-temperate. We don't really see semi-temperate in the UK. If anyone ever mentioned it, kind of overseas, it's normally laminated, float, toughened. We're also in the UK, we have what's called Building Regulations Part K. Now, a lot of brand new buildings will all be audited to this criteria. Basically, within this area of a building, this section needs to fall under 3 different brackets. Whether that's been protected from impact. So, for example, if you went round likes of Edinburgh or in Barnard Castle, you get some houses which have cellars in them with small windows. If they've got bars in front of them, that's what their bars are doing to meet this criteria, so nobody could come through it and get injured. Or break in a way that won't injure anybody. So, for example, laminated glass. So breaks, shatters, nobody's going to go through it, nobody gets cut. Or break, or be resistant from impact. So that's glass, way more durable. So there's 3 criteria. Applying window film to that. So it would be floor glass, we put window film on, technically falls in the same bracket as laminated. Or some market towns, I think probably even in Barnard Castle, old market town, there's probably still some glass which doesn't fall into those building regs, the really old ones. Now, let's be the slide got out there. So again, identifying it, again, if anybody was interested afterwards, you have all these bits of kit. So we've got the piece of kit which tells us the thickness of the glass and the air gap. It's again, especially commercial projects will want to know that to ensure it's going to be right. We've got a toughened glass indicator and also a ROI indicator.
I didn't like to have them. Shepley accounting.
or late, I'm sorry. Expect better from you, Nightingale. And domestically, the low E indicators put on most important pieces of kit because more buildings now get supplied with low E glass, which is basically designed for insulation. So if we've got glass which is designed to be insulated, we don't really want to put an internal solar injection film on, because then they always work against each other. So then you go to stick that externally to for longevity peace of mind. There's not too much in the UK, but the only other one to kind of really point out, it is becoming more common, especially up in Scotland, is triple glazed glass. If you ever come across triple glazed, always get that externally. Just because you've got so many layers, you've got two air gaps in there. If we're putting a heat rejection film in there, the sun's energy is coming all the way through, heating up those air gaps, hitting the solar film, coming back through, and we're heating up those two gaps, and that causes gun touches. So triple glazed, all external. So what can window films do for us, or what can window films do for our clients? This is we've got 7 windows of window film. And cheesily, you always like a cheesy slogan in the back of your mind is Shadby. Once you do it a while, it sticks in your head, but you'll always remember what your client potentially needs. Now, there's no one wonder film which does all these to a high standard. That's why it's quite important to understand your products you master to your clients. So we'll go into them a little bit more. So safety and security. So you see we've got some 8mm window film there, and a little bit of in action. But safety and security is, so safety, again, upgrading something like a laminated glass, or if it's toughened glass it's not laminated up high up, it shouldn't be, but if it were, because toughened glass can spontaneously explode, it's kind of the word, it'll just implode. So you're going to laminate that, sure, if that's high up, it doesn't hurt anybody. So safety glass is basically just making sure that nobody gets injured around him. Security, on the other hand, is again a bit more to it, I guess. So if a customer, they're looking to apply a safety film, security film on there to prevent break and entry, is it smash and grab where it's probably something a little bit thinner? Or is it full security where they're going to want not only a film on there, but an anchoring system? Again, with client expectations, what do they want? What has their previous experience been? And because as much as these are great, and they'll take that initial impact, depending on what that person is trying to do. If they're trying to use blunt force to get in, eventually that glass will crack around the outside. She'll have a little, either 2-3mm gap between window film and frame. It'll eventually come on in. So we need one way or another to anchor to the frame. You could take the frame out by the film, or take the glass out and put it back in. There's a bit more work to that. There's mechanical anchors, also there's silicone option as well. But again, there's a few variables to consider if that's something you're looking to do. Heat gain reduction on probably the most common one in the UK. One of the most common ones for people who have conservatories or bifold doors, French doors, and kitchen where it gets too hot in the summer. This is probably the nerdy one. What do you got window film? Once you get in the process of cleaning it, applying it, there's not a lot to it. It's more of a technical product, and it should be, like I said, the customers get the right product for the right job. So I won't go too much, but when the sun's shining down on your glass or your window film, it's divided into 3 parts. You've got your reflection, generally you're going to get a lot of that from your silver filters. You get transmission, so again, things like nickels where they're not quite as deep. Strong metallic finish was silver 20 will allow more transmission to heat the room and before. And absorption. Whenever you put any window film on, doesn't matter what it is, that glass will always get a little bit more warm than it ever did before. So again, that's another consideration. I was put a couple of guys about some issues with glass cracking. Sometimes you get glass which has been fully installed into a building. We put another film on, it absorbs a little bit more heat than it did before. All of a sudden that glass now touches that ill-fitted screw head, and that crack appears. And then on that, we have a couple of if we ever deal with a window film and we're looking for heat reduction, one of the big ones we look for is we call the G value. Basically, that G value is a combination of transmission and also the heat that comes in from absorption to tell us how efficient that film is in reducing heat. TCR again, that's total solar energy reduction. Some people get confused and think that's about reduced heat. It's actually how much visible light, UV, and heat that film rejects. So sometimes it's easy to look at that and go, oh, this product fantastic. It's 88% heat rejection. It's not. It's a combination of everything.
Yes, one of the things we wonder about.
So again, simple terms, adding window film can affect how much heat goes where. And that's why it's quite important, ensuring it's the right film for the right job. Appearance. We can change appearance for the better or the worse. For example, so we've got mirror film there. Not everybody's going to want a mirror. Whether it's a domestic home, might not mind it. You know, they might get their maybe like a conservatory, but they might get their French doors done, and then compared to the rest of the house, it stands out, looks like nothing like what the rest doing. Big commercial buildings, some people feel that's a bit dated, it's not as clean, so there's options to get around that. But again, it's that question to be asked: what is your issue? Oh, so it's heat gain. So I've got products for that. Is appearance an issue? Because if appearance is an issue, then we might not be able to hold on that. So again, appearance can be more decorative rather than functional. And what building you're going to be in as well. So that's the Bose Museum here at Barron Castle. Obviously a listed building. You ain't going to put that for the listed building. So again, these questions are very, very important.
What's on membership?
Glare. So common one that gets easily missold. Two types of glare. We have direct. So sun comes up low, east, you've got east facing room, sun shines right in your eyes, direct glare. That's what I've been born in there. Indirect glare. So basically, computer screen, come back in your eyes, indirect glare. We could never, with a window film or solar window film, completely stop that. We can reduce it significantly, you'll never get rid of it. If the client's picky and they want it completely gone, there's still a place for blinds. Again, setting expectations, sometimes you've got to say to the customer, sorry, it's not feasible.
It's what for?
Privacy, again, different route to privacy. Some people will call a silver film privacy. It does have really good privacy properties, but it's light dependent. And again, a lot of people missell silver film. Through the summer, day like today, with silver on all those windows, you get an absolutely excellent mirror appearance. You probably won't be able to see inside. You get to winter time, you've got duller days, you've got bright lights on the inside, you are going to start to see outlines. Is there TVs, computer screen that are trying to block? Those giving off light will again reduce that appearance and you'll still see the screen. How close is the footpath if that's what they're trying to avoid? Is it right next to it? Is it 20 foot away? Again, it's not a all-round privacy zone. And at night time, it works opposite way. You'll be able to see, somebody will be able to see in. If you've got the light on the inside, you won't be able to see out. Again, etches, decorative offer different levels of privacy as well. Insulation, so probably a little bit more prevalent in the UK, especially in old buildings. When we come to insulation, like we had G value for heat gain reduction, we now have U value. Every window that goes in will have a U value, then every insulation film will have a performance of U value and what it's tested on. The lower the U value, the more efficient it is. Now, in VION, we've got two. We've got insulation 20 and 50. They are mirror films. They have a slight tint to them. So again, appearance is going to be a question we can ask the client. But those particular films, because they're also mirror, are a dual effect film. So in the winter, they can retain heat, but in the summer, they'll reject heat as well. So you get all year-round efficiency from them. So they're really good in that sense. Before I move on to the next one, with insulation, the one question you'd get with insulation you wouldn't get with heat gain reduction is what's my return on investment and another size of the opportunity. Fortunately, right now there's no software which can tell you that. And you can provide the data, so you can say, oh yeah, on a single 4mm pane of glass, insulation 20 performs like this. That's the client then got to suit their habit. The last one, faded. Again, common misconception. How many people do I hear say, oh yeah, UV UV makes everything fade. It's not, it's actually it's only a small portion when you realise. Around roughly 40% of 40% of fade is contributed by UV. Roughly 25% visible light, 25% heat, 10% is gases, humidity, things like that. All these contribute factors lead into how long it takes to fade. So again, like glare, we can slow it down, we can't stop it. It's always one of those questions. Customer says, "Oh yeah, I've just bought a £5,000 leather sofa from somewhere. My last one faded. If I put this on, how long is it going to take to fade? How long's a piece of string?" And you might have a customer who's had laminate floor would do the same. Great, we'll put your window film on, it'll slow it down. But if you're replacing it, are you using the same laminate, or are you using a high spec one, or are you then going for a cheaper one? Because if they go for a cheaper laminate floor to an advert fort, it might not do as well as they think or you think. So it comes out the quality of what's once in question as well. But again, we can slow it down. So again, blocking UV, decreasing levels of visible light, lowering surrounding temperature. So for example, a silver film, depending on the situation, will be an excellent product for reducing the fading. Reduces an awful lot of heat, reduces UV, and reduces visible light as well.
As this car. If they waiting to use it, then
So a little bit of the dirty stuff on that. I don't spend too much time on it. I'll do some questions at the end as well, just in case anybody's thought of anything. So why should you use VION? What have we got? So within the solar and safety films, we've got quite a spectrum of what's available. So we've got external, again, more and more, because of low E coatings, it's become more prevalent in the UK. So we've branched up to Silver 30 as well. Most common products, there'll be the Silver 20 Eco, the Silver 20 Premium, and the Silver Eco, the Silver Premium, sorry. That's pretty much anybody's bread and butter for what they're going to be churning out through the year. Something a bit more niche, don't seem to get used too much, but there's been some really high-end buildings that have been done in like gold and bronze, so they don't want that silver appearance because they deem that silver appearance a bit cheap. Right, cool. We've also got these two products here. Now, if you come to purchase one of those, sometimes it can get called one way 80, one way 90. Do not let that deceive you. Because it still works the same way as a silver product does, but they're a dual-layered window film. So basically, on the inside, you've now got your charcoal tint rather than a silver tint. So for homeowners, for example, it's a much more appealing finish on the inside rather than have that very, very bright silver mirror in your eyeline. Then we've got our two insulation products. So you can see there, I talked about the insulation 20, its performance. You get excellent heat gain reduction as well as the insulation values. It marries up to any of the kind of rubber finishes in there as well. One of the big things is if you ever look through the spec sheet or anything like that, there's a lot of this data and it's just been understanding what do I need to know, which bit's relevant to me, and not get caught well biased. You can see on the safety side as well, we've got some not only just standard safety films and security films, but if anti-graffiti was an issue for a client as well, that's under the option available. To make it a little bit easier for potentially clients, we've got this floor chart as well. Again, sometimes we could practice if you're not quite certain for what do I need to know, what do I need to ask. So again, what's your problem? Do you have heat or is it glare? It'll lead on with a question that'll take you down the rabbit hole to where there's going to be the right choice of the ever. We do have an updated version because there should be some insulation ones on there as well.
I'm not there right now. I don't take on
Now, in the decorative range, so again, the reason we've done it here because it's much easier to show you what's going on. So you can see there behind you, we've got an array of the different finishes, also with a big panel out there. So you can get to see what it actually looks like in person.
Yeah, no,
all the VION Decor window film range in that particular swatch, they're all polyester. So when we do have the calendared etch as well. So again, just make sure you know we handle it because there is different ways of applying etch polyester to calendared. So all these are pre-printed. Normally it's UV ink, polyester, obviously film. Already go on the roll, 15-24 wide, to roll off and just install. So much less labour involved to apply them. Then we've got reeded. which is definitely on trend at the moment. I mean, don't get me wrong, it reminds me of grandma's house from a long time ago. Trends cycle background. And again, it's just another polyester, couple of niche application guidelines. I'm going to do a demo on that this afternoon. When you come to apply it, you apply a solar or a safety film, you get a majority of water out, you won't see it. When this is drying, you will be able to see the dry spots in it. It becomes like a white patchiness. As long as that's just water, it'll dry. But again, I'm going to show that as a demo later on. But it's a very, very nice film, very appealing. 14mm and 6mm, I believe they are.
It's nothing. In that state.
And then again, so we've got the opal series as well. So this particular opal's polyester. Then if you wanted to do some weeding, obviously we've got calendar as well. So there's plenty of options available through the range. There's something for everybody. And again, it's one of the ones where, especially the decorative, it gets missed out on portfolios, especially with the commercial clients. We have big spaces, big glass partitions that want to update. We live in a world of social media nowadays. People love things that are appealing to the eye. And so
I'm calling for this for wax.
that's it.